Hello everybody, Floppy Hat Photos back here again for another one of my Idiot's Guide to Marathon Training. And today's little segment I guess here is I kind of decided last night I think I want to get back into the ultra running world and give it a shot. I'd done a bunch of marathons in the past. I did a dozen marathons in 1 year. I did 2 marathons in 1 month. All that kind of fun stuff. Even while doing that, I was also run streaking during those times. I ran my first trail marathon and then decided the next year they had a 50 miler, so I went back and did that. In that 50 miler, I tripped and a bunch of times. The trail there is just very technical stuff. The marathon, I tripped and fell there and broke a kneecap. 8.91 miles in, my dog tripped me. Not that I'm holding a grudge. I finished the marathon. The next year I went back and basically ran the 50 miler, which was ironic. I fell less in the 2 laps than I fell in the 1 lap, which was crazy. So that worked out really well for me. I don't know why, just maybe I had more time in the trail. Went back the next year for the 100 miler, which I was going to take, which is 4 laps, and it's super technical trail. My goal was to try and finish under 30 hours. That was my goal. I don't know if that would have happened or not, who knows. I got to the line and they had basically pulled us off the trails and had us running around the campground like blacktop and no shade protection, like 90% of the time out of the shade, as opposed to it was like 75% of the time was going to be in the shade. Instead it's like 90% of the time was out of shade in the sun, and didn't have the right shoes. A lot of different issues that us running down some power line, old tear outs and stuff that were new, and it was just sloppy and it was gross and it was not what we wanted to do. They didn't give us a warning. They knew there was a chance of us not making it for the 100 miler, and I got such a bad taste in my mouth over that race. I'd kind of just never really looked into racing again. I was so disappointed by that race itself and how poorly it was executed and keeping us informed of what was going on and the changes that had been made, and the amount of money I wasted and spent. It was ridiculous time. I drove up to Kansas with that, hung out there, flew my wife in, which at the time was just a girlfriend, flew her in to drive me home to run 100 miles. I did not think I really was going to be able to drive a 5-speed back to Florida very easily. So it's so much it cost and expense that had I known there was even a 50-50 shot of this race being run around a campground, roadways and stuff, I would have skipped the trip. I would have saved all that money back and all that fun stuff involved in it, but it was not notified. So I got a really bad taste in my mouth with racing, and I have not raced since then. That's been 2.5 years ago, something like that. It's been a ridiculous amount of time. I'd set a goal 2 years ago to run 52 long runs in the year, and I was on pace, doing really well. Everything was great, and I fell and injured myself and got a severe injury that I barely kept my run streak alive, let alone I just couldn't run the 8 miles plus each for 52 runs. So I lost out. I failed that year, which really sucked. Last year I set out to do that again, and I was way ahead of schedule. Like I was running 2 or 3 a week. I was just really way ahead of schedule, absolutely loving it. And then during the heat of the summer, I backed off and kind of settled down a little bit. Ended up aggravating a sciatic nerve in my back, and I was out for 6 weeks or so. Again, I mean, I was literally had tears in my eyes trying to run my 1 mile to keep my run streak alive. It was ridiculous how bad that was. I got healed back up from that finally and was able to knock out my 52 long runs, and I gave myself enough time. It wasn't a big deal. My last 8+ mile run was like December 19th, I believe it was. I believe it's the last one. And since December 19th, my longest run since then was like 4.03 miles. Like most of my runs are 1.5 miles, maybe a 2 mile here and there. Most of them are 1.25 miles, just keep my run streak alive. And I really have become exceptionally disappointed in my lack of desire to get out there and run long. And today is Monday the 15th of April, tax day. So since December 19th, almost 4 months, I have not run long. You know, like I said, I had 1 4-mile run, that was it, and it was not an impressive run even there. So I went out today. I decided last night I was going to run 8 miles today. I decided, you know, if I'd done 52 of those last year, I can go do 1 of those this year. Won't be that big a deal. So I headed out, took my dog with me. It was a beautiful, cool morning. Temperatures in the upper 70s, I think 78, 79, something like that right now. Took off in the morning, went out and ran. Ended up running the 8, got back to the truck. And on the way back to the truck, I was feeling pretty good. I was trying to keep my pace down, went out in the 9s, ended up in the 10s. Where I wanted to be, just kept my pace as slow as I could, just chilling along, no walking, just running the whole way. I wasn't taking any walk breaks like that. I had to stop and let the dog poop, that kind of stuff that comes with running with a pet. And got back to the truck, and I kind of got the wild hair at my butt. And I thought, you know, all I got to do is go out another 2.5 miles, and come back, and boom, I'll have my half marathon in. So I said to heck with that and decided to do that. So I went out, and then I basically got not quite the full 2.5 out there, and it was just, there's a part of the trail just goes into pure sun. It's just a boring long stretch that would have sucked just running down, turn on, come back. So I turned on there, got back to the truck, then actually headed back the original way. So I did an out and back, and out and back, and then another out and back, and to get my 13.1 in. And I was really impressed. I ended up walking the end to keep from cramping up and stuff so much, just for to help with recovery. So I basically was able to knock it out. I was not paying for it immensely. I'd ran without any water or any food or anything. I ran 4 miles over to the park that I turned around in, took a drink out of the fountain, gave the dog a drink, and then we headed back, got to the truck, grabbed my bottle of water, and then basically had water every about 1.5 miles after that, which wasn't a big deal. The dog got most of it. Unfortunately, I froze too much ice in it, and it had not melted, so it wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be. Left in the truck and started running with me, so I ended up with that issue. But we ran out of water. Not a big deal. We had plenty to get back. It wasn't an issue, just not as much as I would like to have given my dog. So when I did turn around there at the second turnaround point, he wanted to lay down, so I let him lay down for about 3 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes the way he laid down there, which, so that right there actually is the worst length of time, because all it does is cramp up your legs and give you issues where you don't want to start running again. So yeah, absolutely, I was super happy with it. I'm super impressed. I've been saying for a long time that I'm always in half marathon shape, like every day of my life, short of outside of injuries. Like if I'm severely injured, like my sciatic nerve acting up, that kind of thing, or when I have like a broken kneecap, I can always run a half marathon. It's not that big a deal to do. It's just I'm gonna be sore the next day. So I went ahead and I had to prove it today. I decided I was going to prove it. I knocked it out, did great, got finished up, came here to the house, and then I put in another, 4 hours of yard work. I moved a bunch of stepping stones around, landscaping blocks. I moved a whole bunch of those around. I threw some over the fence, carried the rest with dollies around here, dug a trench in the front around one of my trees, placed a bunch of those, had to repack them and get them leveled out and whatnot. Built myself a fire pit ring over there, 3 levels high, big giant loop of those. So there's a bunch of that work involved. Ended up planting a new tree. It's an old tree I've had for a while, a bit of a pot, decided to put it in the ground. Planted a tree, some aloe vera, a cactus, and some other plants and stuff. I don't know what the actual name of the other one is, but I went ahead and did that. So I was digging a bunch of holes, moved a bunch of the dirt around. So I've been out working in the yard for 4 hours. Literally have not sat down until just now. I sat down for the first time, except for the drive home. Since then, because I thought, well, if I keep moving, I'll be able to just keep moving. Once I sit down, I know my day is going to end. And I really should have taken a shower before I decided to sit down, but I wanted to go ahead and sit down first. I'll shower afterwards. Figure worst case scenario, I'll wait till my wife gets home in about an hour, and she can basically help me in case I end up cramping up and have the issue. I am feeling a lot of cramping in my right foot, about halfway, like where the, not sure what it's called, between your heel and your ball of your foot, there's that knot that sticks out the side. Between that knot and the heel right there, it's super cramping up, which is where I place my shovel when I stomp the shovel into the ground, digging the holes and stuff. And that right there, I think, is what's causing more issues than the actual running the half marathon today did, is stomping on that. Because I was wearing my thin, super thin trail shoes that I run, that I've turned into garden shoes now, and I should have had a thicker sole on there, or my work boots on a thicker sole to help with that shovel. So I also cleaned up an old fire pit, shoveled all that stuff. So I've been out here moving dirt around and just doing a lot. I did end over to pick something up a little bit ago, and I was like, oh crap, that wasn't good. Like the whole bending all the way down, it definitely is not fun right now. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I got to at least keep my run streak going. I got to keep that alive, and then I got to try and find myself a 100-miler to sign up for and go run. Part of me wants to just go run a solo 100-miler, find maybe a couple buddies and stuff that are also into running, and let them kind of pace me / crew me in the process and see what it has, and save myself, I don't know, $1,000 probably by the time I pay entry fee and travel and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? Another thing, if I did do that, I would take off running in the evening at like 6 o'clock and run through the night, and then basically run back through, because I'm not a big fan of the getting up at 6 a.m. kind of thing. So I'd probably just try and get myself a good nap in the day, and then just take off in the afternoon, go running, and then the first night wouldn't be a big deal, and let some other people come and help crew me and run me the second part of the day. So who knows, see what happens. But I got to find me a 100-miler race that I can afford, that's within I don't know, it's a location I'd want to go to also. There's a couple out here in Florida I wouldn't mind hitting, but it can be just crazy hot down here. It's hard telling. And the mountain ones, which are nice and cool, the altitude will kick my butt too. So anyway, it's been about 10 minutes now. I'll let you guys go. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Get outside, lace your shoes up, hit the door, and get your run on. Thanks for watching.